Hello, welcome to Pastor Jerone TV. I'm Pastor Jerone. How's everybody? Hopefully everybody's getting a chance to get out this summer and enjoy this wonderful American economy. Enjoy America. Yes, we're all pushing for our favorite candidate, President Donald Trump, to continue to doing what he's doing and that America continues to prosper. And but don't be in the battle so entrenched in the battle that you can't enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself some. Get out and have a good time. I try my best to relax as much as possible because like you and like many people, we can get heated over this stuff because a lot of crazy stuff is going on. But let me talk real quick about reparations and what I see, about what's going on. Reparations is a form of compensation for slavery. That's the conversation right now. But every so many years this comes back around and this is a part of the political conversation. It's political only in nature, not that there's been any actions taken towards reparations. But there's a biblical premise for it. This happened in the Bible. This happened in the Bible. Reparations happened in the Bible. And it happened with Israel, the Hebrews, when the Egyptians enslaved them for about the same amount of time that we were enslaved here in America, African Americans, for over 400 years. The Israelites and the Hebrews began to pray unto the God that they forsook. And that was the only reason that they went into slavery, is because they forsook the God of heaven. And then they finally prayed to the God of heaven, and God sent and raised up a deliverer by the name of Moses. God sends Moses in, delivers the people, brings them into the wilderness, and then history is made from there. But the night before they left, God told Moses to tell the children of Israel to borrow from the Egyptians, to borrow goods from them, to borrow gold and silver and all of that stuff. And that word borrow is different from what we see as borrow. It means to take. It means to ask for, to take compensation for the slavery. Do you think the people who were alive at that point, I'm talking about after the 400 years, many of them had died on. The ones that initially was a part of the slavery in Egypt, they died on. And then more of them died on, and then more of them died on, until the younger generation was available, are there, and they get delivered. They were the ones to receive the compensation for the years of slavery that they had gone through as a people. Well, I hear a lot of arguments saying that, we're not slaves and that happened back 400 years ago and that we shouldn't be talking about what happened 400 years ago. Well, God sees it. And it was a wrong done to a people. It was wrong. And this country, America, has prospered greatly because of it. But the problem is that we have politicians now who are giving wealth away. If you're giving it away, you might as well give reparations to the people who were wronged, who helped make this country great, right? But you're giving free health care, free dental care, housing, health. When they come here, they having babies. You're giving billions of dollars away to people who are illegally here, right? And that's the Democrats. The Democrats, they don't ask. They don't ask the people should they give it. They just give it. And they're on the heel in D.C. talking about we're having a hearing on reparations. We're doing research on should we do reparations. But you didn't do research on should you take care of illegals. You just gave the check. You just given the health care. You're just giving it. You don't do research. So that's the first sign that the intention is not to give reparations to black people or descendants of slaves. It's not, they don't want to do that. It's just about bringing up the conversation as if they are concerned about reparations or righting a wrong done to African Americans. Do you know how many years it took to come out of that, mindset, to come through that pain, to fight up from the bottom, and then to fight up from Jim Crow laws and to fight up past prejudice and racism. You black in that time, in the early 60s and the 50s and the 40s, you go and apply for a job, well, because your skin is dark, you can't get the job. So how are you going to feed your family? How do your kids go to college? You see what I'm saying? You have to live in poverty, and that hurts generations. And many generations of African Americans are still hurting to this day behind that same mindset. And it's just a mindset. I believe black people can prosper, start businesses. We have some of the a lot of millionaires in our African American community. Ball players, football, basketball, baseball. We have movie stars. We have billionaire business owners. We're doing wonderful in this country. We don't need reparations. But if this country is going to give away money and give it away to people who do not belong here, who are here illegally, you should pay African Americans reparations. So before you bring in the illegals, before you start going down to the border and crying tears, phony tears of compassion for those children, then why don't you first of all take care of home first, take care of what's here in this country. All right? I think that's wrong. We have millions of illegals coming into this country. Millions. That means somebody's got to take care of them. Somebody's got to house them. Somebody's got to feed them. And then they need health care, because many of them coming over here with tuberculosis and all types of diseases. And they need health care. And they're coming over here and being dispersed into our communities, going to the schools with our kids, being in the community where we are, and we're in harm's way. We don't know what the psyche of these people are, and we don't know what their health is because they haven't been vetted. So, and then not to mention, there was a story some time ago about how many Chinese women are coming over here in the 8th and 9th month of pregnancy, and they're coming over here in droves, flying over here to have a baby. And it's a law here in America called the anchor baby law. So that when they come here, they're illegal. They're not a citizen of this country. But when they have a baby, that anchors them to be a citizen here in the country. The baby's born here on American soil, so the baby's immediately a citizen. But then the parents too become grandfathered in, and it's called the anchor baby law. And I'm talking about so many people. And so we just discovered that the Supreme Court turned down President Trump's request to have on the census that asking a simple question: are you an American citizen? Are you a citizen? What's wrong with that? They are afraid that the American people are going to really discover that we are probably a minority. We're minorities in our own country. And we're being overrun with illegals so that the Democrats could be in political power. And that power is governmental. Because we're the ones paying the money to the government to have oversight over our country. But they want more oversight. But anyway, the reparations. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I think it's far too late. When I gave you that biblical example of it, that was right after they was getting ready to leave at the end of the 400 years. I think it's too late to have reparations. I think we need to stop talking about it. I think what we need to talk about is what we're doing now. Are you educated? Are you taking advantage of the opportunity? Do you have a job? These types of things. Do you have a vision? Do you have a business plan? This is what we need to do. Instead of waiting for somebody to give us something and waiting for this country to acknowledge the fact that they wronged us. I believe a lot of them have. And I do believe that President Donald Trump has done two major things to offer compensation or to acknowledge that blacks have been wrong. And that one is the prison reform. Prison reform. We had a black president there for years who never reformed the prison laws and black people's long prison stints over crimes that white people and other people did, and they got 2 or 3 years, but black people got 20 years. Trump is overturning that. And also, he's also doing a retrofitting black communities. He's developing them and changing the structure there and placing some businesses in those areas that's going to pay livable wages. And that's huge. But I wonder why this reparation conversation did not come up during the 8 years that Obama was in office. That was the time to strike the iron. That was the time to talk about it because we had a black president. But the problem with that was that black president did not agree with reparations for black people. He didn't agree with it. And so the only reason the Democrats are bringing it up now is that they're trying to get votes. They know that they've ripped their pants with the black vote because they've made a lot of promises and they've not fulfilled any of them. As a matter of fact, they're not even trying to. They're not even offering new promises now. They're promising everybody in the country, not just black people, free education, free jobs, and free living. And somebody's got to pay for that. Somebody's got to have a job. Somebody's got to be educated enough to have a job. Somebody's got to have a business that's doing well to pay the taxes so that they can give away all of this free stuff. Life isn't free. Life isn't free. And nobody wants any free thing. It's terrible to live a life receiving all the time. You know, it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. And we're not living wanting reparations and begging for reparations. And if they start cutting the check, well then cut the check. I won't mind too. But I'm not begging for it and I'm not waiting on it. I'm not planning to live my life around a reparations check. But President Bush, the second Bush, the younger Bush, he sent out a stimulus package in 2008. Y'all remember that? It was a stimulus package for about $170-something billion. And it was a financial or economic stimulus package because the economy was so bad. And so he sent the head of every household something like $7,000 or $2,000. But out of that 178 billion, only 13 billion was spent for its purpose, and that was to send it to the people, the head of every household. The other 20 billion of it was unanswered for. It was unanswered for. And President Obama came in right after that and came up with another stimulus package, and this one was far more robust. It was about $800 billion, and it only incentivized and paid for the mistakes of the big banks and big companies, big corporations, and none of it trickled down to us. They talk about how Trump's tax cuts only benefited the rich. It's not, because it's benefiting the nation, as we can see. But that stimulus package that Obama came up, that was the one that's incentivized and gave wealth back to the rich, but didn't do anything for the middle class or the poor. And I said that because I want to say that I do believe that these politicians are very slick. If they do get any money for reparations, do you think all of it's going to go down to the people that it's intended to go to? It's not. It's not. These people are going to earmark that money for their own pet peeve projects. They're going to have their family members set up non-profit foundations, and they're going to earmark that money for those foundations. And I'm talking about billions of it is going to go to their earmarked little family piggy banks. That's all. That's how they do it. And when they retire from a job that pays them $100K a year, they retire multi-millionaires. I'm talking about hundreds of millions, close to $1 billion. So, and that's how they get wealthy, super wealthy. But reparations, we could do with it and we can do without it. We've learned to be abased and we've learned how to abound. We don't need it, but sometimes it would be nice to have the country acknowledge. See, because a reparation, it's an acknowledgement of a wrong. It's an acknowledgement of a wrong. It's a compensation for it. And sometimes it would be great to just have the country acknowledge the wrong to black people. But as of now, we're on equal footing. And like I told my son, nobody's stopping him from going into those college doors. Nobody's stopping him from starting a business. You know, nobody's stopping him from doing what he wants to do. And that's the thing about it. We're in a free country. And let's enjoy this wonderful economy and free country while we still have one, before our First Amendment right is taken and the country is back into the hands of Democrat power. And when they get power again, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be unbearable. Persecution is going to be on the Christians and on anyone who would express sentiments or words against what they're doing. And that's a socialist economy. All right, that's my thoughts on it. I hope I've said something that helps out on this subject of reparations. All right, God bless.